Try everything to break me. Your lies, your laws enslave me. Take me so there's no escaping.
It's week 1, baby! That's right. The wait is over. It's done. No more need to wait. Gonna go and bring my first co-host in because he was on time. I'm just busting Mike's balls though. Let's go ahead and bring in the coach. Coach, what's going on, man?
What's up, baby?
It is week 1, finally.
Yes, sir.
We waited too damn long, and we finally got to go ahead and get on this mother. I got to watch my words. We're on TV.
Yes,
Believe
sir.
that, right? We're on TV. You're going to put my ugly face on TV? Damn. That's all I got to say. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Let's bring
Good morning.
our third co-host. He is brand new to the show, but we're going to welcome him like family. He already started mixing it up with Coach already. It's Mike. Mike Hughes in the house. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys?
Morning.
Morning.
It is week 1, gentlemen. Week 1. I cannot stress it enough. I'm going to keep saying it throughout the show. It's week 1. It's week 1 of the 2021 NFL season. And it could not, I mean, you know what? The heck with that. I got it. Yeah. All right, enough of that. So, listen, games have already started. You know, you kind of have the Olympics, like you have the ceremony inside the stadium. They already had the game. They already had it. We'll get to that here in a second. Cowboys and Bucks. They kicked it off with their championship banner ceremony, if you really want to call it that. I think it was like maybe a little bit of a lick 'em stick 'em type thing that they did, but I wasn't impressed with it whatsoever. But it did come out. Buccaneers squeaked one out by the girlies. Squeak. And I'm just saying, listen, you have Brady, you have the same 22 fellas that started last year. You come in here and you squeak by the Cowboys. Let's go ahead and get reaction there, Coach. I know you were very excited. I already asked you before how many times you threw up before thinking you were going to lose to Dallas. You said there was nothing there, man. You were calm. You had ice in your veins there. What was up with that?
I mean, like we talked earlier, the biggest thing that I wasn't worried about was that, one, you gave Tom Brady time, and also your pressure was on the outside. So all he had to do was just step up in the pocket and make all the right throws. I mean, go ahead. Just like you're going to say something. I'm ready.
He's ready. I'm telling you, Mike's just sitting there waiting. I mean, he's got his Cleveland Browns jersey on. No, I'm sorry. The wrong CB. It's the Chicago Bears.
Oh,
Bears. See, this is the trash talk that I think is going to make this awesome right here. This is what's going to make the touchdown crew go from where it was already just to that next level up. It's going to happen because, you know, I'm wearing the wrong number. I got a Mac Jones jersey, but I didn't want to sweat through this one and then, not be able to wear.
And you had to wait half the year, Charles. You had to wait half the year to find out if he was still wearing 50 or 10. You had no idea. So I'll give you a pass. Week 1's hard to catch one of those jerseys. They're pretty hot right now.
Well, listen. No, as soon as that preseason game came out, he stepped onto the field wearing number 10. I was on fanatics.com already ordering my shirt.
That's the way to go.
I was lucky I did that because as soon as they made the announcement he's starting, boom, it's done.
That's how it goes.
But back to topic though, Bucks and Cowboys. What are your thoughts, Mike?
My thought, honestly, it's one of those things where my thought wasn't really on the game itself. It was more on individual players. And you learned a lot from this week than you did in, weeks past of weeks one. Usually week one, I don't really take it for granted. It's not something like I take that deep in. I still think this Bucks team is elite. I still think they're going to be very good, very successful. I think one of their only flaws right now is a defense. And by that, I mean, when you bring in the same 11 guys, we talked about it on one of the last shows. It wasn't this show, but it was, if you're checking out the ASAP network, you can check it out. Me and Freddie were discussing it. It's one of those things where you don't have new blood. And when you bring in new blood, you have guys that are hungry. You have guys that want to be great. And a second year together is amazing. But sometimes you're off to a slow start. You have that, we just won a championship. We're riding it out. There's a lot of emotions that go through. Even though I do agree with you, Charles, it wasn't the greatest ceremony. I found it to be very odd. I felt it to be very forced. It was very quick. It was. They threw it down and then it was done. In years past, with Brady and all 7 of them, usually there's a lot more to it in New England. So it was very weird for me to see that very quickly, especially for how long it's been for them to win a championship. But I just think. One thing I took away from it, and I'm going to say it, I'll go out there and say it. If he continues to play the way he is this year, Rob Gronkowski is without a doubt the greatest tight end of all time. I don't care. He's, you retire early, so I can't give you that. I'll give it to Gonzalez or I'll give it to whoever. But if he continues to play like this with Brady and has a few more seasons like this, without a doubt, I realize Gronk is still here. Gronk is back. That's still a dual threat. You thought him and OJ were nice together. But now it's mainly just I'm focused on Gronk and Howard's just nice to have.
Yeah, before, last year it was like, Howard was in this offense more than Gronk was. So Howard got the targets. Gronk was like, okay, Howard was the guy. Gronk,
right.
Hey, nice to have you back, buddy. Here, I'll dump off a couple of passes. Mm-hmm. But now they've all been acclimated to this offense. They had a full preseason to go ahead and mesh again. It looks great. Believe me, the offensive line looked great. Like Coach said, Brady basically could set up camp. You could go ahead and basically process one of those avocado ice creams they did, eat it, and still go ahead and find an open wide receiver. There was just all day to throw. And I don't know if that's going to be the case all week, but listen, they looked good that first week protecting Brady. The only thing that I saw that really, really kind of sucked, and this is on both teams, the running game. No holes anywhere. They could not dig one. Even if you had 10 shovels, they could not dig a hole.
No, it wasn't really gonna be a running game on either side because they loaded the box, and then like I said, second half Brady kind of understand because they were switching backers in and out.
Yeah,
when they run the ball, they put the bigger backers in. Van Der Vesch for the Cowboys, and even with the Bucks is I think the Bucks looked at it like, hey, we're gonna put pressure on Dak and see how Dak is gonna respond. Right, and we're gonna put our guys in man coverage.
Speaking of Dak. Let's talk about Dak real quickly. Listen, hell of a game. As a matter of fact, he outthrew Brady ratings-wise. If you take a look, he only had the one interception. Granted, Brady's one interception was a Hail Mary, but you got counted in the stats. I'm sorry. But Dak outthrew Brady. He looked really good. Did he have the same zip on the ball as he had before the injury? What are your thoughts?
I think he looked good.
Yeah.
The shoulders look good. That was the big major concern. He's a professional. He's a top 10, possibly top 5 quarterback before the surgery. So I wasn't really worried about that. And it was an ankle. It wasn't really a knee.
Right.
Once he started walking around and he's been running and cutting, that wasn't really the issue that I wanted to look at. It was more so the shoulder. He threw it 58 times. So therefore, the shoulders, it must be fine.
I'm telling you, if you go ahead and put Dak and you throw it 58 times, something's going to be saying, yeah, I guess he feels all right. You're throwing it 58 times. 58 times. And you have Zeke back there. You don't expect a Cowboy team to throw it 58 friggin' times when you have Ezekiel Elliott back there. But, Mike, he had to do it because Zeke was a non-factor.
I think it's not even that. The reason you had to do it was because it's Mike McCarthy, and I've spent a lot of time watching Mike McCarthy throughout the years. And I'll say this: I'll leave it to this point. throughout Mike McCarthy's time as the head coach of the Green Bay Packers, I, as a Bears fan, never went into that game, whoever was in the backfield, I never went into that game thinking, man, that running game is going to be a concern, whether that running back was great or whether that running back was bad, because Mike McCarthy just doesn't establish that run game whatsoever. He doesn't believe in it. He had Aaron Rodgers coming off a broken collarbone or a fractured rib or whatever had, and still throwing the ball over 50 times. So for me, it's definitely a concern. It was definitely something where I took a bit more as, wow, is this going to be the entire season of Dak Prescott? Like you're already, dealing with this shoulder thing in preseason, and you're coming off this ankle injury, and you look amazing. And I'll give you that. You looked amazing. That was perfectly great. I will say the one interception by Tom Brady, I give a pass as well. I hate giving Freddie passes, but Fournette should have caught that ball, and that looked horrible. Like that was just bad on him. And I love the announcers. Oh well, Fournette looked great in practice all week. That's cool, I guess. Like who cares?
That's
but
practice.
That's a weird thing to say. Like I guess everybody looks great in practice when they
yeah.
Practice squad.
Goes so good, man. Those tights were really, really shaping his buttocks really nicely. You could see his abs and everything. He looked great. That doesn't mean he's going to go.
I love the Cam Newton stuff too. Oh, he's bigger than he's ever been before. That's cool. Can he throw the ball? Like I really don't care how you look. But for me, I don't know if you guys heard, Charles. I definitely don't think you were there in the conversation. ASAP Network Fantasy. Mike Hughes had Ronald Jones and Ezekiel Elliott starting those games. That ruined my entire week. I got -2 points and 5 points.
Yeah, that's a big. Sorry about your luck there, kid.
Never starting them ever again.
No, well, no, I'm sure you'll eventually. Listen,
I'll start Zeke.
Maybe start Zeke, not Ronald Jones.
No, he fumbles too much.
Ronald's gone. Ronald lost my heart.
I see. I've been, when I did my my sports show for this thing called Bucks Report, I actually was a big fan of Ronald Jones. I actually really enjoyed Ronald Jones. I thought he should have had more carries than he really did. But it never happened. And I guess there's the reason why. That's why I'm sitting here talking on this dumb thing, and I'm not in the locker room or in the training room watching everything that's going on. So yeah, true. I don't think Jones, and they got too much depth at running back too anyway. Yeah. So if he starts fumbling, it's going to turn in. He's going to be in the doghouse, and just give it to Fournette.
Right.
Let him.
My thing is though, and I kind of wanted to ask you guys while we're talking about this run game. I like to use it if you have, like, for my Chicago Bears, if you have 3 QBs, you have no QBs, because you can have as many as you want, but if you don't have one guy for certain on day one to establish as your number one, then you have a problem for the remainder of the season. And yeah, it's nice you have Fournette, it's nice you have Ronald, it's nice you have all these other cats down in that backfield. But to you guys, do you really believe in this run game? If something, God forbid, were to happen to Brady throughout the season, or they just needed to establish a run game to eat clock, do you trust that?
Yes, that's what they did last year. If you look at the playoffs, they ran the ball. I mean,
but that's last year though.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Going into this year, do you?
But I think they looked at it same as the Cowboys. The pass was there because there was a lot of man coverage. So even like if you look at Dak, even Dak's interception, CeeDee Lamb, he had hand placement wrong. That's why he dropped it and it was a pick. But other than that, it was a good throw. They took care of the one-on-one. They said, hey, it's like doing one-on-one. Let's throw it. Let's throw it. If you're gonna load the box, we're gonna throw it. And the same way, vice versa for Tampa, they knew they was bringing heat on the edges and everything else. So it's like, hey, we can just throw it or drop it off to the running back in the pass in the flats and just get upfield for 2 or 3 yards. I think they looked at that as this is our run game for tonight. But later on in the future, we have to establish a run game. And I think you got a difference with Jones. He's versatile. He's more versatile. Fournette looks better in the pass game. But, Fournette's going to hit it hard. I like it. You pick and choose who you're going to roll with. And like I said, when Jones fumbled, they're like, we're not going to have this what we had last year. Gone in Fournette.
I think it's like you pick your poison. It's situational football. If you're going to be down the goal line, I'm going to put Fournette in. He's going to ram it right down your throat. If I'm going to go ahead and if it's third down or something, we get Gio in there. And then, of course, if we need to eat up clock, definitely not putting in Ronald Jones. One of the two. I don't know where Ronald Jones fits now because, you would think he'd be like a starter or at least a good, given time off for Fournette. But one fumble. Listen, and let's not call it what it is. It wasn't a fumble to the point of, oh, he's going to ruin his whole career. This was a direct Mike Tyson uppercut that went right down into that football. That's like if you go ahead and you hit your helmet on that football, it's coming out. I don't care who you are. I don't care how good you hold the ball to. So we can't 100% put the fumble on Jones. Yes, I think he needs to maybe have a stronger grip on it. But that punch, like I said, that was a Mike Tyson uppercut punch right up there. So that I think Jones will be okay. I think his fumbling issues they need to be worked on. Anyway, let me touch on another subject here that came down to a game time. Well, let's put it this way: it may have cost the game. Greg Zuerlein, 2 missed kicks could have cost. Basically, was the difference in the game. That was the difference between the Cowboys winning and losing.
Yeah.
Is this our kickers? How expendable are they now with one of these games going that way, where your missed points cost us victory?
I think I should speak first, from personal experience and knowing what that's like. But the double doink, Cody Parkey, and all this other stuff that I've been having to deal with since the era of Robbie Gould ended. For me, Eddie Pinero is the perfect example. He had a game winner with the Bears in 2019 and got that established job against the Broncos, and that was perfectly fine. And he wrote out that season being decent. Had 2 bad games in a row. We signed Cairo Santos. And Cairo Santos ends up having a career year. Eddie Pinero is now an NFL free agent or somewhere in the pipeline as a backup. Nowhere where he is. No idea. But, it was just like that. In a span of 2 seconds, you realize, okay, it's Cairo time. He's done. Cairo gets an extension. It's a Ryan Pace extension, so it's too much money and it's too long of a time. But to each their own. To me, I think it's a totally different era. I think, kickers are not as valued as they used to be in a sense of this is our guy for the next 10 years. It's more of, who has the freshest leg and who has the hot hand. So for me, I definitely think it's definitely a concern. It's definitely something they're going to take into consideration. Something else, though, real quick. Do you guys think there being a lot of fans changed any of that for him? Like, you go from a season. I look at Cairo Santos as well. His whole career, horrible. And then 1 season without fans, and he has a 93 completion rate. It's one of those things where it's like, I think, now that fans are back, I'm curious to see how Cairo and a bunch of other guys do.
I don't believe so, because as a kicker and as anybody that's supposed to go ahead and do something in your job on the field, you're supposed to ignore all the fans. That's my thing. You need to ignore all the fans. And in order to do that, whether there's fans in the stands or not, that's how I take it. It's like you need to do your job. You have one job to do, and you need to do it. Coach, what's your thoughts on Zuerlein?
Shit, you got one job. You got one job. At practice, all you do is kick. That's it. Warm-ups, you kick. You don't.
Wait. I got a good remix here. All I do is kick, no matter what. I try not to double doink because I will suck. I'm working on it. No, not working. Okay.
He got one job. I don't, like I said, you can look at it many kind of ways because he missed the kick. Guess what? They got to turn it right back again, and he kicked it again.
Yep.
So it's just one of those things. If you would have made the kick, you probably wouldn't have got the other field goal. The score probably would have been 31-31 if you would have made the extra point. We would probably been watching overtime.
Hit the road for week 1. What an epic.
So let's go ahead. I apologize for that. That was a little bit of volume I didn't need on there. So Buccaneers squeak one out. They start the season off 1-0. Cowboys have really good games, so I don't think Cowboy fan really needs to worry too much. I think I saw a lot of posts on Facebook like Cowboys win the NFC East already. Just pack it up. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. You can join us, 813-699-5353 if you want to go ahead and call us. We have a few comments in here. A lot of the ASAP crew going in there. Freddie wanted to say, hey, good morning. Freddie also says, is Mike Guz Bears game gear on? Yes, he does. He's got the quarterback that is not going to start today.
And that's okay.
That's okay. It's for the future. It's for future consideration. Ray points out Jacksonville will beat Houston. I believe Jaguars will pull out the victory today. What do you guys take on the Jaguars winning the game today in Houston? Honestly, Houston, is that even a team anymore?
Yeah, they have to.
that's like a high school thing. I think you can go ahead and bring out my local high school team that went like 0-10 and still put a better show than the Houston Texans. My Giants play the Broncos today. I expect to win. I also expect to win. Well, why are you shaking your head no there, Mike? Go ahead.
I'll say this, and it's my main reason why I don't think they'll win. I think, Saquon's back, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yes.
So I think that's a good element to bring into that. I think he's going to be a little protected kind of on a pitch count just to make sure, it's just your first game back in about a year. So that's perfectly fine. But what I'm worried about if I'm Freddie and them Giants is Daniel Jones and are these DBs of this Broncos team. You have Vic Fangio reuniting with Bryce Callahan and Kyle Fuller. Then you have Simmons as your safety. You have another strong safety who's very I forget his name off rip, but he's very good at what he does. Then you have Patrick Surtain coming in as a rookie, very high value. These DBs are going to make Daniel Jones work, and you really do have to rely on Daniel Jones being that man. Now, Freddie has him in his top 5 MVP candidate list, so if you want to keep that same energy, keep that same energy. But what I'm trying to say is Von Miller's back. You have his co-host on the side of him, who's amazing. It's going to be a really defensive game, I think, by the Broncos. I think it's going to be really good. You got Teddy B. Teddy B can give you some games.
Yeah, but is this going to be one of those games?
Yeah.
We'll see.
But I don't think it's a cakewalk.
Go ahead, Coach.
Nah, it's going to be a defensive game. Like you said, one thing about it with the Broncos, like I said, Teddy check down. He's gonna check it down. He's gonna hold it. He's gonna manage it. And that's
I love the nickname, Coach. You're like our boomer on the show. You really
that's
are.
What he gonna do? He gonna check it down. But that's what their coach is about. He's a defensive guy. He doesn't really care too much about the offensive side.
Right.
And he's gonna hey, we're gonna rush. We're gonna try to get pick 6. We're gonna try to keep the score 10-3. We score 14 points. He feel like, hey, we can win the game.
Right.
Yeah. So Saquon is in today, but again, he's going to be on a pitch count. So they're going to go ahead and ease him into the game. They're not going to risk him too much. I'd say maybe 15, 20 snaps, maybe.
And he might do amazing, though. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to say that Saquon isn't an element to this game. I'm just saying, you have Saquon on a pitch count from what I'm going off of. It's not that I can't rely on him, but it's not that I should put that burden on him of, okay, we need you to win us this game. Like, we need you to just be you and be perfectly fine and just get through this game untouched so we can go in the next week with a better idea of what you have there.
Yeah. If you have him on your fantasy team, I'd say bench him for this week, just to be on the safe side. Like Mike said, he can just come out there and just blow up the field, run for 3 rushes, 75 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and maybe a few receptions. Might win you the fantasy game, but they're going to keep him on a pitch count. We don't know how much he's going to play, but it's not going to be a lot. It's not going to be a full game. Question in the chat room, Jay says, did the preseason affect the kicking game? I'm going to go ahead and say no, it never does. No. I mean, it's the same preseason, just down 1 game. Big deal. And it's not like unless you were competing for a position,
right,
you were basically the kicker for that game. That's it. Right. And I don't think there was many kicking competition going on in the league. Not that I noticed.
Nah, he just sucked. It's as simple as that. Yeah. I mean, there's no pressure in kicking. All you got to do, you do it 100 times before you did that kick that day.
I like what Coach said too. It was it's an amazing point. Is I know there's more that goes into it, and there's a lot of preparation. But at the end of the day, all you do is kick a ball. So for a young quarterback like Justin Fields or Mac Jones, who needs that extra week to kind of continue to develop, and it could be very useful. Dude, all you got to do is go in your multi-millionaire backyard and kick a field goal, or go to the practice facilities. It's really no different.
Yep, definitely. All right, so there's our recap of the Thursday night game. Of course, Buccaneers went ahead and unveiled their very generic championship banner. I expected a lot more, especially a Brady winning a Super Bowl. You would think maybe they would add on another thing in the pirate ship, but they didn't do that. It kind of lame, but. Anyway, not going to go ahead and go into any further discussion on that. Let's go ahead and some news and nuggets here around the NFL. So Tyrann Mathieu has been cleared off the COVID-19 list. He is going to play this week. What are your thoughts? Do the Chiefs need Tyrann, or do you think he could have stayed on the COVID list and they'd be fine?
Nah, they need him. You need somebody. Safety is very, very important. That's the communication of the secondary. So they need someone that they're used to hearing that voice flying around, bringing the excitement. I think it's very, very important for the Chiefs defense because they're very, very suspect. They're the weak link.
Mike?
For me, a lot of people are just fans of the moment. And to say, oh, he had a horrible Super Bowl and he wasn't this and he wasn't that and he's not that guy, you're wrong. This guy's a dog. This guy does what he does. Was that a bad game? Yeah, it was. But at the end of the day, you were going up against Tom Brady, Gronk, Evans, and all of them. So, I mean, it was great competition. So it's not an excuse, but it's one of those things where it's like, bad games are bound to happen. You're bound to get matched at some point in your career. I still think he's very valued on this team. You're playing a Browns team that, do I believe in the entire team as a whole? No. But do I believe that this offense has a lot of weapons? I do. So I definitely think he's going to be valued out there. Austin Cooper, people forget about him. He wasn't established in that game at all last year for the Browns. But in year 2, I'm really curious to see how he's going to be. He was great with the Falcons towards the end of his stretch. So I'm really excited to see how he gets established in this while you wait for Odell to get back.
Yep. So you're like you said, they're facing the Cleveland Browns at 4:25 Eastern tonight, this afternoon. They're at Kansas City, so they'll be opening up at home. Saquon Barkley, like we mentioned, he's back in the lineup. He's going to go ahead and play sparingly. Basically, let's touch on a little bit more Saquon's effect to the New York Giants. The New York Giants game. They are. Let's see who are they playing. They're playing the Broncos this week at 4:25. Going up against that defense, do you expect Saquon to be a difference maker, or do you just see him basically being like the second or third guy, maybe even a third down back?
He's a third down back. It's just Giants is just trying to get better for the regular season. They're trying to win the NFC East. That's their major focus. So they know if we can get 9, maybe 10 games, we'll be good to make the playoffs. So with Saquon, you just this is week 1. You can take it as a preseason, real live game. And it's just, let's build them up. Let's get them going. Let's get them ready for October.
Mike, anything to add on the Saquon issue?
For me, and I know we touched on it a little bit, but it's year 3 for Daniel Jones now, year 3 or 4. It's one of those things where it's like, for me, without a doubt, Booker or whoever else is in that rotation is definitely starting over Saquon. That's just how I look at it, or is getting the most snaps. You might not be starting, but you're getting the most snaps out of that. For me, it all comes down to Daniel Jones. Like, Saquon knows he needs to be back as soon as possible. He is the number 1 threat on this offense without a doubt. I like Kenny Galladay, Chicago native. I like Slayton. I like Shepard, but they're just not. They're not those guys. You know what I mean? This isn't Odell in 2016. So. And it's not Eli Manning. It's Daniel Jones. So for me, it's going to be a very pass-heavy reliability on the Giants today. I think they definitely should give Saquon Barkley that break. You have Ingram, you have all these other cats that you bring in. It's time for Daniel Jones to step up. That's where I'm really at.
Mike, let me go ahead and parlay on that comment real quickly. Who do you think has more to prove? Which New Yorker? And I'm going to say New Yorker very
Yeah.
Here. Sam Darnold or Daniel Jones?
You mean like Sam Darnold's situation when he was with the Jets or with now?
Well, with how he is now, because he has to prove himself in Carolina. You basically did nothing. So now Daniel Jones in his 4th year in the Giants system, first year for Sam Darnold to try to revigorate his career. Right. Who has more to prove? Who's got more pressure?
I see Daniel Jones, and I'll say it for this specific reason. Sam Darnold, we already gave up on you. Like, I mean the Jets. Like, you're gone. You're in a new system. You're going to take this year, and hopefully you flourish. But at the same time, it's like, okay, well, you also need some time to gel, and we understand that. Daniel Jones, all they've done is help develop him and bring talent around him now. And I couldn't say that in years past, but this offseason, they really did make some moves that were very good. That offensive line still needs a lot of work. That's yet to remain seen of them giving any type of shit about that. It's a Chicago Bears thing, It's just the way big cities move, I guess. But it's one of those things where Daniel's been in the system for a long time. Now you have the weapons. Now Saquon's healthy. Your defense was top 10 last year. No matter how you feel about the coaching system, like, I feel like at the end of the day, it all comes down to QB1. And if you're not that guy, you're going to be shipped off very fast. And a new Zach Wilson will be in New York.
Yeah. Coach, you feel Daniel's got more to prove than Sam Darnold?
Yes, he's in New York. I mean, that's the biggest thing. He's in New York, but I think Sam Darnold's going to play better than all the New York quarterbacks. I think one thing about Daniel Jones is he doesn't have a quarterback coach. You got to have someone, an offensive coach, that can teach him and learn. And I think that's where he's really failing at, because the opposite of Sam Darnold. When Sam Darnold was in New York, he didn't have nobody. It was like, ugh. But now he's going to Carolina, and you hear me say it all the time. I love Brady, the OC. You see what he did when he was at college with LSU, breaking all kind of records. Hey, shoot, he had 2,000-yard receivers last year. So I like him, and he didn't have McCaffrey.
Right.
I like what Brady does, because he teaches quarterbacks how to play the position, he makes it simple and easy for him. Because he came from that Saints, that Saints coaching style.
And if you really think about it, this is actually one of the more intriguing matchups, even though it's probably not on paper. Carolina at home, but guess who they face week 1? Sam Darnold's old team, the Jets. They come into Carolina. Let's see what if Sam Darnold says, hey, boys, y'all messed up. I'm going to go ahead and throw this all over the place. That would be interesting to see. Carson Wentz is back. He is, quote unquote, not limited in any way. Is this let me try that again. Is this finally a full year for Carson Wentz under center in a new team, Coach?
Yes. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to run that ball behind them linemen. They're going to say, eat, boy, eat. They're going to run the ball, and he's going to play action off of it. Like I said,
Nyheim Hines also with a new contract, so he's got something to prove as well.
Yeah, he's going to be healthy, because you're not asking him to do too much. He'll probably throw the ball 25 max. The rest of it, they're going to run it.
All right. Ray, what do you think? Excuse me, Mike. I'm going to talk. Ooh. Sorry.
Jonathan Taylor, I watched him a lot as a Badger. I watched him a lot because Wisconsin's close here, and Northwestern is god-awful. So I watch the Badgers a lot when they're on. Jonathan Taylor, I hope them legs are still fresh, my guy, because it's going to be a very, very, very long year in that backfield. And I think, there's a big part to, is Carson Wentz going to be healthy? I can't tell you that. I couldn't, even if you walk onto the field and tell me he's 100%, if he did a full-on body scan before every game, medically done by top surgeons of the world, and it said he's perfectly fine, not a single drip of nothing, his blood's great, his breathing's great, everything's fine, I'd still be worried. Because I've seen this man get injured from nothing. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's every part of him, and he's just injury prone. I'm not bashing him. He's a great quarterback when he's healthy. He definitely was that MVP candidate back in 2017.
Yeah.
He's a great –
and that's what really disappoints me. It sounds like he was the shit in that year. And then all of a sudden he goes down. Well, Nick Foles wins the Super Bowl, but still it's like, oh, damn, I wish you could have done that.
Right, and the problem with the Eagles organization was I just felt like you gave up on him so quickly. You were so quick to say he can't play anymore, he can't hack it. When Alshon Jeffrey in his mid-30s is one of your best wide receivers, I would have really liked to see Carson Wentz with Devontae Smith or Carson Wentz with other wide receivers that they've brought in this offseason. I think you just make that line, you make that wall, and you protect him to your best ability. You also never really had an established run game. You're sharing backfield time between Sanders and Howard and Scott and all these other guys. To say that Carson Wentz is a bad quarterback is wrong. But to say that I trust that he's 100% healthy, I'll never fully trust that he's 100% healthy.
I see a lot of the teams going to a 2-3 back system, and there's not that one guy anymore that you really see on a lot of teams that you can give it to 20, 25 times. He's going to rack up 100, 125 yards. It's like 10, 15 times, and then we're just going to throw in a couple of other sidewinders at you. Running backs, and this is a question I didn't really anticipate on asking, but it's been brought up. Do you see the running back in fantasy football a lot harder to judge now than it was like maybe 10 years ago?
Yes. I mean, but you got to realize the thing about running backs. They're a dime a dozen now.
Yep.
I mean, if you think you got Derrick Henry, you got Cooks, you want to say Barkley, but it's not many. Like Zeke. Zeke got what, $40-some million, and look what he's doing.
I think it was 90, no?
Well, I mean, yeah,
he got a lot of money.
he got all that money, but then it's like, but
He got a lot of money to pass block Dak Prescott on Thursday. That's what he got.
Yeah.
And not very well.
Yeah. So I think it's when it comes to the running back, and it also depends on the offensive style, what they want to do. If they're a running team like Tennessee, you're going to pay him, and you don't have to pay much on the receivers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of like, you go ahead and if you're going to draft a running back in fantasy football, it's kind of like drafting a tight end. There's only a handful of tight ends that you're really going to go ahead and bank on to get you points, and even that's not a guarantee. I mean, Mike, what are your thoughts on drafting a running back in fantasy football?
I think it's still the top thing to do. I wouldn't be like Freddie and draft Patrick Mahomes in the first round, but to his fairness, it's Patrick Mahomes. But at the end of the day, I think drafting in fantasy football has completely changed because I think you can take a chance on guys later in the rounds. Like I have a guy on my team right now, Williams of the Broncos. I watched this kid a lot in college. If he gets those opportunities like we're speaking on, which he will because of the way the game is changing, he could definitely become that number one back there. You also get a guy like James Conner, Phillip Lindsay going to new roles and their quarterback situations. They're going to get fed a lot. So at the end of the day, it comes down to more of production than reps. You know what I mean? Like Saquon Barkley, like we said, can rush 3 yards for 75 yards for 3 carries today. And that's gonna win you a fantasy game. Like that's how easy it is. So really, it comes down to production and what you think you're gonna get the most out of, not how many reps they're gonna have. But I do agree with Coach. Running backs, it's not the way it was. It's not the way it was at all. You don't pay these guys. You just respectfully move on from them because they're a dime a dozen. And you can find these guys later in the second round and the third rounds of these drafts. So I think the game is changing to it's like Madden now. You see guys throwing damn near 500 yards a game, throwing it over 60 times. I mean, rushing for over 50 yards. It's insane. The game is changing. Running backs are not valued the way they used to be.
Yep. Going back to the Carson Wentz that we basically figured out, he's going to be facing up against Seattle week 1 at home. That's a 1:00 game.
No.
Colts.
No. Yeah. He's playing Bobby.
It may not be pretty. But you know what? Frank Reich is a pretty good guy, man. I mean, he may have some tricks up his sleeve.
Yeah, it better put Bobby Wagner, man. The man's a different breed, different type of special, bro.
All right, moving on. The Steelers finally paid a baby. TJ Watt cried, "Wah! I want to get paid. Pay me, pay me, pay me." Oh, damn it, they paid him. Getting a huge-ass contract. Did the Steelers crumble early, or did they need TJ Watt out there?
Go
ahead, Mike.
No, you can go, Coach.
No, they need them. They had to pay him. And it's a good thing they pay him. They probably save money by paying him because they don't got no money, which they ain't got no line. So it's a good thing. I mean, that's your cornerstone of your future. He's young, and he's gonna be there for a while. And so he's only gonna get better.
4 years, $112 million, 80s guaranteed.
That was it.
What?
That was it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna mute you.
Go ahead.
No, he said it. His agent,
4 years, $112 million.
Now his agent said it because it was on. His agent was like, "Hey, you can get more." He's like, "No, I'm good. I'm going to practice."
Yeah, he definitely could have got that bag. I mean, we seen Khalil Mack get an extension bigger than that at an older age. Like this kid, like to Coach's point, is so young, and that is so valuable. So the fact that $80 million guaranteed for 4 years, he definitely could have got a little bit more if he wanted. He could have got annually probably $25-26 million by a paying Jerry Jones type guy, not Jerry Jones specifically.
You do realize you go ahead 4 years into $112 million is $26-27 million a year, right?
If he meets those extensions, only 80 guaranteed.
He's gonna get an extension before the last contract.
Yeah,
he's gonna pitch and cry again in his last year.
Yeah, most likely. But it's one of those things though where you've already lost a lot of decent pieces to this defense, and you definitely want to keep TJ for the long haul because you can build around TJ. There's not a lot of other guys on this defense, I'd say, looking at it for a 5 to 6 year standpoint am I going to build around this guy? TJ's that cornerstone guy. He's done a lot of great things. He's just like his brother, just healthier. I mean, knock on wood, but I mean, it's just one of those things where it was going to happen. There's no way he didn't get that money.
But you also gotta look at, like I said earlier, it saves money on the cap.
Yeah.
And if you pay it now instead of later, if he has a huge season, now you gotta pay even more.
Right. Now, he was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate last year, and some would even say that he deserved to be top 2 in that standpoint. So if he is to ball out this year and his stats potentially, almost double, it's one of those things where it's like you're going to have to shit the bed and pay as much as he asks for, and there's nothing you can say about it.
Yeah.
So to pay early.
So let me make sure I understand correctly. You both agree that this is a well-deserved extension.
Yes.
Okay.
But it's also
I just go ahead.
But you gotta look at it also. We get crazy when it says $26 million. The money's going up. Everything's growing, just like gas.
Right.
When we was younger, gas was 99 cents. Now it's $3.50 where I'm at. It's gonna go up. So I'd rather pay him now. And if he took that, that's a win for us. Because regardless of the situation, he could have got more, or we could have said, hey, we'll wait till the season over with, and he still produced like he's producing.
Right.
You're gonna pay him more.
I'm just gonna go ahead and do this one scenario, and I know that these scenarios are over and over. It's just this one that pops in my head. Joe Flacco wins you the Super Bowl. You pay him a boatload of money, and he just goes down the toilet.
But can I ask you this?
Go ahead.
Was Joe Flacco over the years producing? Did we say Joe Flacco's the top 5 quarterback?
Right.
I think at the time with the Super Bowl, I think they were. I think they were when he won the Super Bowl.
No.
Not anywhere close now.
Maybe he was sniffing 15-10.
Because everybody said it. He bet it on himself.
Top 10.
They said he bet it on himself. He bet it on himself. That's all they said. Every year, TJ's getting better and better and better. So, and money's not an issue. Look at his brother.
All right. So let me ask you this then: why is he crying about it, and then he had to basically go ahead and whine and bitch like a little baby, and then the GM finally said, "All right, here's your money. Shut up and go play football."
Because you want to get it. Because you want to have security.
Well, he's not going to get cut.
But it doesn't matter not getting cut.
That's not the issue, though. You see, you tear your ACL. I didn't mean to cut you off, Coach.
Go ahead.
Your ACL in that standpoint and that position at the game, that cuts your contract and what your expectations of getting at least in half. You're looking at a $120 million contract going down to maybe a 60 or a 70, and that's still a lot of money. That's perfectly fine.
Jerry Jones went ahead and proved that fact wrong by paying Dak while he was injured.
That's 1 in a million guys. Jerry Jones is a person in his own. You know what I mean? Guys don't relatively do that all the time. And I do understand from your standpoint, Charles, where it's like Joe, you get that contract and you start playing poorly. I have my eyes on Eddie Jackson right now, one of the top safeties in the league. Got paid, doesn't care, can't even tackle, doesn't have interception. So why are you out there? I have a big expectation for him this year. But TJ, I don't see being one of those guys. He came into this league with that hype, and he's just met every single expectation. And he wants to win. He has that dog mentality, just like his brother. So a guy like that, you don't let go. And if you can get him on a deal that relatively other teams would pay a lot higher for, I would do it in a heartbeat.
So, he better bring it because they're in Buffalo this week. They're in Buffalo. Kickoff 1:00, going up against Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. They ain't no joke. That's going to be, we'll talk about it a little bit later when we go ahead and make our picks, but I see this to be maybe AFC championship game quality, maybe AFC division.
Without a doubt.
This is definitely going to be a big impact game right this week here, and that's a 1:00 game. What is going on with the Ravens? They have added everybody that wants to play running back. If you can play running back and you just got released, give them a call. Latavius Murray, Le'Veon Bell, all added. Le'Veon Bell took a practice squad contract. Well, is Bell that desperate to be on a team?
I believe they tried out Freeman too, if I'm not mistaken.
Devontae Freeman, correct? Yes. Listen. All right, JK goes down. 3 people step up. You got a 3-headed monster there that could potentially be epic, and that's not counting Jackson too, who can run it as well.
Right.
What do you? Can anybody make sense of this? Who do we see emerging out of this three-headed horse that might be maybe somebody you draft in the fantasy league, Coach?
I think it's going to be kind of like the Tampa Bay situation, depending on the scenarios. Like Latavius Murray, he's a downhill runner. Like, you know, that's what he does. He's going to go straight downhill, which they need in the goal line. Le'Veon Bell he's a dancer / he can catch the ball out of the backfield, which he can do a lot of play action, a lot of screens to him. He benefits for that. I mean, but you got to look at it. They're what? The first Dobbins went down, second string went down. I think someone else went down. Like I want to say third or fourth string guy went down.
Yeah.
So they was like, hey, we got to find somebody.
Yeah.
So you're going to try everybody out because you know for a fact one thing the Ravens going to do, they're going to run the ball.
Yeah, and you know what? This is this is kind of like a sweepstakes for these three running backs here. Who can make the biggest splash? You know you're getting the ball 30 times somewhere along the lane because you know Lamar's not going to throw it 30, 40 times. So, I mean,
I agree with that. But, I also think Lamar might not throw it 30 to 40 times, but he'll definitely run it over 10. So I definitely don't think these backs are going to be getting 30 carries a game. I think Lamar is going to take a good handful of that, and he's going to have to be that guy. I know, you know, he makes that claim, I'm not a running back all the time. I don't see him as one. I think he's a great quarterback in this league. I think he finally has the weapons, and it's very unfortunate that he's not going to be able to replicate that and throw 30 to 40 times a game because he doesn't have those guys in the backfield that help him, unless a guy like Le'Veon really takes it up a notch and does what he did back in Pittsburgh. But you're going to have to be that running back. You're going to have to be that guy. And I hate to say that. I know you're not one, and you hate that title of being one, but you're going to have to be one to win these games until you get an established guy who you can count on week in and week out. But also, for me, the biggest story, who's your physical trainer? Who's in your health department for the Baltimore Ravens? I want to question you. I want to wonder, why are 4 guys that tear their ACLs? What's going on with that? What's conditioning like? What is it? Why is this happening? I understand it's a freak accident and it happens, but for all of this to happen in a span of 10 days bothers me. How well were you conditioned this offseason?
I mean, a lot of it when you do that situation, and like I said, when I talk to my kids about when I coach, you got to prepare your body for what's getting ready to happen. And a lot of these guys, because of the COVID rules, you can't be there, you can't do this. So there's not a lot of hands-on with the trainers or with the physical therapy to just strengthen the knees and do these things. So, and then when you get out there on the field, you try to do moves that your body's not really prepared for you to do yet.
Right.
So I think that's one of the biggest issues because you got so many breaks. You got days off, or you have only a certain time here. Like, then it depends on. I think if certain amount of people have COVID, now you're doing meetings online, your Zoom meeting instead of coming in, or you can't come in because of this, and that. I think that's one of the biggest issues. Hence the fact why we always say you got to get your shot.
Right.
Got some comments here. Of course, you can go ahead and call in 813-699-5353 if you want to go ahead and go in the mix with these guys. Damon over here says they both have a lot to prove, talking about Sam Darnold and Daniel Jones. If Sam doesn't get it down in the future, his future's in serious jeopardy. Whereas even though Danny Dimes is a myth, he has about 2 or 3 more life rafts left before he officially drowns at sea. I don't know about 2 or 3. I think this might be it, especially if everybody stays healthy. Yeah. Damon also agreeing with you gentlemen here about Flacco wasn't top 5 or 10, maybe more like 15.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. Jonathan says, good morning, everybody. He's over here saying that Lamar Jackson's a dual threat as facts. We get as a dual threat, but it's like, when you go ahead and bring in 3 running backs, I don't think you plan on having Lamar Jackson run the ball that much. And they're going to have to go ahead and prove it this week where they're going to Vegas. Monday Night Football, it's Baltimore and Las Vegas happening on ESPN. So that's going to be where we see who's going to emerge out of this swamp they call running back pool.
We also do see, I just want to ask you guys from a standpoint, we know Lamar Jackson's take on getting vaccinated and how he is against it. So whether he has COVID or not, if he ends up in that protocol list, who runs the ball? Who runs the ball at all? You have you're counting on Lamar Jackson to somewhat effectively run that football.
You're in trouble that week.
You're in for it. And right now at their backup standpoint, I know Trace McSorley, and that's it. I don't really look at it as you're really deep at the quarterback position. So
No.
you have a problem at passing.
If you have Trace McSorley as your backup quarterback, you got no depth.
You literally have 10-year-old kids singing a Trace McSorley song, watching the game, excited. Everyone else in the league knows what's going on. They're not going to pass the
a
ball.
high school senior to go ahead and run the team.
Yeah, and that's the problem, though, because then, you could deal with a quarterback being out. I truly do believe if Patrick Mahomes, we've seen it. Patrick Mahomes doesn't play because of a knee issue or whatever happens with him. Run that ball down their throat. You still have Kelsey. You still have Hill. You still have these guys. You have these weapons, but nobody to throw it to. And then you can't run the clock down because you have nobody to run it with. So I think Baltimore is in a really shaky spot with Lamar and his stance on COVID.
We'll go ahead and get to all these games. Going to pick them one by one, jot down our picks as we will be keeping track throughout the year to see who goes ahead and wins the crew championship. That will be at the end of week 18. Damon wrote a paragraph. The nerve of you because so-called desperate players have a short life as bleep lifespan make their money or win with a chip. Obviously, the rules change, allowing veteran players to be placed on practice squads as you, as a commentator, have a lot of nerve to knock him for trying to revitalize the way he eats and feeds his family. Damien, I said no such thing. I said, Le'Veon Bell is not a practice squad person.
I think he's talking about TJ. I think he's talking about TJ, no?
Oh, about TJ?
I mean, that's where you were making an argument. I didn't hear you say anything about Levon.
So I over here see the way he handled himself is being a problem. And that's the way I see it. If you're going ahead and a professional, you got the numbers and you got the respect of the team, then you know something, you shouldn't be whining and crying. You should be up there in the general man like a man saying, what do you think? He was doing a pissing contest and he was being a fucking baby. So there you go. He wants to feed his family, do it the right fucking way. I don't go to my boss and do a piss and moan contest saying I want to be promoted. I work my ass off and the numbers prove it. Anyway, 813-699-5353. Got the news and nuggets out of the way. It's time to go. Oh, listen. Coach, you seen my other show.
Hey,
you know
good.
the way to mess with me.
Hey, you good.
Yeah, you know what? I do have nerve.
Coach and I just chilling, man. We're just vibing out.
You went 0 to 100 and say, tune in at 813-699-5353.
Right.
Like,
that's right.
You on the rant.
That's right. Hey, listen, the show must go on.
Yes.
The show must go on. All right. Hey, listen, the show must go on. It's time for Would You Rather. Would you rather, our fantasy edition? Got a few things here to ask you, gentlemen, here. Would you rather on your fantasy team? I got 5 options for you, and all of them have to do, a lot of this theme is for this show is the wide receiver.
Yeah.
So we're going to go ahead and do that. Later on, I have brackets where we're going to break down the top 32 wide receivers, see who comes out number 1. I think everybody kind of knows how that is.
You're doing 32?
32.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
It goes quick. It goes quick.
That's nice. I like that.
The PFF.com did the top 32. I put them in the bracket, and we're just going to go ahead and click them on down. So here we go. Question number 1, and I'm going to start with Mike on this one. Would you rather have Chase Claypool or Juju as your wide receiver on fantasy?
That's actually a great person to ask because I had the opportunity to draft both, and I took Chase Claypool. I took Chase Claypool because I believe in him more. I believe in what he does. I like his game more. I think Juju's a nice piece to have, but really, he's more of a popularity kind of guy. It's just more about the TikToks. It's more about all this other stuff. So why people buy his jerseys. Chase Claypool, I feel like, who's also on TikTok. That entire franchise went from being so hard to so soft in a matter of like 10 seconds. It was weird, but just because of that. But to me, I like Chase Claypool in the long run. I think if you're doing a dynasty type league, you definitely go with Chase Claypool. Just because the Steelers seem to be really full in on him. They didn't really want Juju back. They kind of lowballed him and didn't expect him to take that offer, and he ended up taking it. I believe the Chiefs offered him a contract, and he denied it just to stay in Pittsburgh. So I do think Juju's going to have a good year, but I would do Chase Claypool or David Johnson. I believe it's David Johnson, but 110% of the time.
All right, so Chase for you, Coach. Do you have an opinion? Chase Claypool or Juju?
Juju.
Why?
And the only reason I say Juju because you got a weak O-line. Juju's probably gonna play a lot more slot. Okay, Claypool is gonna play outside, and he knows being. So within doubt, Ben's probably gonna look for Juju because he's feel more comfortable with him.
Okay. All right. So
I like
you guys split on one. You guys had your debate on that one. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Would you rather on the Cincinnati Bengals have T. Higgins or Jamar Chase? Coach, we'll start with you on this one.
Higgins.
Higgins.
When Jamar made that
I like
excuse
Magna
about
PI. I'll take Higgins.
Hey, when he made that excuse about that drop ball, I said, Jamar, you lost a lot of respect. I lost a lot of respect for you. Hey, so I'm gonna go with Higgins.
Even at a rookie, really?
So you can't make that excuse, man. You say, hey, I dropped it. I got to be better. That's it.
Mike?
If we're talking like LSU, Joe Burrow, and Chase, then yeah, sure. But I have to agree with Coach on a standpoint of like reliability right now. If this is fantasy, you need points. You need guaranteed points. And right now, Chase is going to be a dog. Chase is has generational type talent. I think he's very good at what he does. I think that was a poor excuse. I think it's definitely one of those things that he left that interview thinking like, shit, I wish I didn't say that. Like, I think it came across the wrong way. I thought, at least how I viewed it as more humorous than like legitimately saying I couldn't tell because I couldn't see the white on the ball. Like, what are you talking about? But it's just one of those things where right now I'd go with T. Higgins for week 1. Long term, you have to see how Joe and Chase, do together.
Wait a minute. So he actually said he couldn't see the white on the ball. Do you think he's still playing college football?
That was the exact point he was making. He said it's a lot different. It's a lot different because the ball is brown, and that's what
is he seeing ghosts now? I mean, we're gonna go ahead and go to that thing too.
Yeah, that's it. That was why I viewed it as more of a joke, but I think he was serious.
Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, he was serious.
I think he was so serious.
He was serious.
But when I read it, Coach, you gotta give me that though. When I read it, I thought it was a joke. Like I thought it was just like maybe it was taken out of context. Like maybe if you watch the interview, he's smiling when he says it. I watched the interview. Yeah. He's not. He's
serious.
He's like.
I mean, I understand what he's saying. You used to seeing the white strips go around in circles,
right? And it's definitely a factor.
Yeah. And I wouldn't made that excuse. I wouldn't have said it. I would have just like, hey, I dropped it. I got to be better.
Hey, listen, hey, Jamar, if you want to see white on a football, go up north to Canada. They have the whole ball circle. The whole ball is circled around. You can see a lot of white on the football there. And no excuses that time. Why did you drop the ball? Because I'm in Canada. I don't know.
Because I can.
It's just funny. It's funny when he said that, but I'm like, you took a whole year off. So what was you catching?
And that was my exact point I wanted to make too. Is like he's already had a year off since that great year with Joe Burrow. If you can't see the football now, I think it's going to be a very long year when real defenders are coming on.
Yes.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on. Oh, wait a second. No, I'm going to put this down for a second. Let's read this comment. So there's a right way to feed your bleeping family. You got people staying home, cashing stimulus checks who are feeding their bleeping families quite well, the way Mr. Hulk Hogan take that cheap. Damon, what the fuck are you talking about? Who the fuck is cashing stimulus checks in the NFL? You fucking moron. Don't ever comment on my show again. Let's go ahead and move on. Jesus Christ. Listen, I'm sorry you don't have a job, Damon. There's a lot of them out there. I know McDonald's is hiring for $12 an hour. Go get a job there. All right, next one here. Running backs. Would you rather Dalvin Cook or Nick Chubb?
Cook.
Coach is going to say Cook. He wants to cook.
I'm going to say Cook. I say Cook because I know old cousin's going to at least throw it at least 30, 45 times. So the box won't be clogged. I think they're going to load the box with old Chubb against Chubb. So I'm going to ride with Cooks.
All right. Mike, do you feel the same way or do you want to chub it up?
Nah. Pause. But it's just one of those things where it's like Dalvin's proved to me he could be that number 1 overall pick in a fantasy draft. Like you could pick McCaffrey, you could pick Cooks, you could do whatever you want. Chubb to me hasn't really proved that. I think he's a great back. I think he's going to have a great year. You have a really good offensive line, unlike years past. But I just right now, until you see that game from Baker and him take that next level, which I hope he does. I just like Coach said, you have a dual threat in that offense with Jefferson, Cousins, and Thielen. But do you have that, with Landry and Hooper until Odell gets back? And even when Odell gets back, is Baker going to be able to use them effectively? So I would definitely go with Dalvin right now.
Okay. So both with Dalvin. I thought Nick Chubb actually had a little bit of a chance on one of you guys because the Browns look pretty stacked this year. So, and he's also been an improving man too. But Dalvin, Dalvin's also more of the man.
Yeah.
Here is a hypothetical would you rather. In Houston, would you rather have Thyroid Taylor? I know it's Thyroid. Thyroid Taylor or Cam Newton? Mike.
Cam Newton, just for one purpose. I know Coach made a face too. I can't see him anymore, but I'll explain it. It's Cam Newton to sell tickets because there's still fans of Cam Newton out there.
No, wait. You say this is still fantasy.
Oh, this is fantasy?
It's still fantasy, yeah.
Oh, then Tyrod. Cam's not even on the team. I thought you were saying, as the Texans, like, would I want to bring in Cam or keep Tyrod? Then I'd bring in Cam just to sell a few extra tickets. But from a fantasy standpoint, you can't even. Why would you even pick up Cam? He's not even on a team.
Well, I'm just saying, if he was on the team, would you rather?
If he was on the team, I'd just be. I'm gonna be real, and I hate saying it. I tried my hardest to stay away from guys who aren't vaccinated, just because I love fantasy football. I think it's a lot of fun. And Cole Beasley is one of those guys I think would be an amazing wide receiver to have on fantasy right now. But how pissed off am I going to be every single Sunday if he's on the COVID protocol list and he doesn't even have COVID? Like, that's just
I think I said at a certain point in time, though, he's going to get suspended or cut or even fined.
Exactly. So to me, I try to avoid that.
But a lot of fantasy leagues, though, they have the reserve list where you can still keep them. It doesn't cost you a draft spot or anything
right,
like that.
But why do I keep you every single week if you're just going to sit in my injury list and you're not injured?
Oh, I'm sure he's going to play majority of the season, but you're right. That 1 or 2 weeks that you really need to count on him, he's out there. He's not out there. I get it. Coach, the Thyroid or Cam, if Cam was on the Texans?
I go Cam because he's going to score touchdowns because he's going to run it in. That's what he does. He's going to run the ball. He's going to give you a lot more stats. Thyroid, he really doesn't run much. He opens up to throw the ball. So receiver core is decent out there, but I ride with Cam also. Gotcha.
All right. A couple more comments here. Jonathan says, show is fire. And thank you very much. Charles goes all in. That's right. I'm
full send. I'm going to make that a shirt. We're going to have our Touchdown Crew t-shirt. Charles is full send.
Yeah. Charles is all elite or some shit like that. George says, how do the Browns dethrone Kansas City today? It's still going to come down to blocking, tackling, and executing the game plan. I think that's how it is with all 17 games this year, George. Even the playoffs, when it comes down to it, it's all going to be about blocking, tackling, and executing the game plan. And we'll talk. What the hell happened to Mike? No. Mike went all out. Oh, he switched over.
Yeah, laptop was about to die.
Oh, that's why you're having a crummy picture. You have that. Anyway.
I hate it. The little block.
Yeah, it
pisses me off.
If you turn it sideways, does it flip over to widescreen?
I don't believe it does. Let me check.
Yeah, that we can see you on the side. There you go. There we go.
Does it?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, this is dope. I didn't even know this.
Yeah, that is kind of dope, even though we don't use it on the NFL. That's illegal. We'll talk about that later on, about the Browns and the Chiefs. George also says in Cleveland, it's Chubb. He likes to be chubbed up. My draft pick, long story, and Hunt today. So, okay. Jonathan says, love the profanity. I'm scared to cuss on my show because you know what? And that's the thing. I'm gonna probably get called out by Freddie later on today. Charles, like, Charles, what the hell are you doing? You know you're on TV, right? Sorry. Pay-per-view, maybe. Anyway, last one, and this is kind of a stupid one, but I figured let's close it out with this one here. Who's the better cook, Dalvin or Jared?
Dalvin.
That's not even a question.
Yeah, that's what I figured. I said it was stupid. I'm just gonna throw it out of the way.
No, yeah, I liked it. I just
anyway, that was
option than Jared.
That was our Would You Rather moment, brought to you by us because we're the ones doing the damn show. All right, so what do we got next? Oh, brackets. Time for brackets. This one's going to involve some music. Let's go ahead and do that. All right. So we got brackets here. So what is this is going to be is we got 32 wide receivers. 32. And judging based on PFF.com's top 32 wide receivers of the 2021 season. I am going to ask you, gentlemen, which one is the better of the two, and they will move on to the next round, and so on and so forth, kind of like the NCAA bracket. So if it comes down to a tie, I'll be the tiebreaker. So here it goes. First one, of course, is the number 1 versus number 32. It's Tyreek Hill versus Deontay Johnson.
Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill.
All right. Yeah, this one here, this is a just say it when you know it. Next one, number 17, number 16, Robert Woods and DJ Moore.
Robert Woods.
I give Robert Woods right now.
Robert Woods on that. Okay, he moves on. Number 9 and 24, we have A.J. Brown and Cortland Sutton.
A.J. Brown.
Yeah, without a doubt, AJ.
All right. Number 25 and number 8, Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson, 2 teammates.
JJ.
We're talking about this coming up. Oh.
Yeah, we're talking about coming up. This
I
coming up.
can't not give it to the kid.
JJ.
Okay. I think Coach went ahead and submitted on that one. Number 5 and number 28, DJ Metcalf and T. Higgins.
DK.
Who'd you say? Metcalf?
Mike said DK.
Yeah.
Okay, Metcalf. I was about to say.
Right. Next one, we got number 21 and number 12, Tyler Lockett and Mike Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to give it to Mike. I think it kind of matters on where they're at. I think Tyler might have a better season stat wise, just because there's not a lot of other great wide receivers in that offense in Seattle.
Gotcha. Okay, so Mike goes ahead. All right. Number 13, number 20, Cooper Kupp versus Odell Beckham Jr.
Cooper Kupp.
Cup.
Everybody likes the Cup. So basically, we can go ahead and do Nick Chubb and Cooper Kupp. He'll be chubbing up in the Cup.
Love
Next
saying the kid's name, bro. Cooper Kupp.
Next one, 29 versus number 4, DJ Chalk versus Stephon Diggs.
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Diggs, okay. Next one, number 3 and number 30, it's DeAndre Hopkins versus Jamar Chase.
Hawkins.
Yeah, I gotta go D-Hop. He's proven.
Yeah.
But he can't even see the ball.
Jamar Chase can't see the ball, remember?
Can't see the ball.
You can't see the white.
Nope.
This one here, number 19, number 14, Chris Godwin versus Terry McLaurin.
Godwin. I like routes.
I'm gonna go Terry.
Terry?
I like Terry. I think there's a lot to. I think if you got a real QB1 down in Washington, Terry would be a top 10 wide receiver.
Coach, you still say Godwin?
I'm Godwin. I like routes.
I like Godwin a lot though.
Yeah.
Even though he fumbled and dropped a touchdown, I'm still a Godwin fan.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Godwin on that one. I like Godwin. All right. Number 11 versus number 22, Keenan Allen and Kenny Golladay.
Kenny.
Oh, Kenny Allen.
No, I got Kenny.
Who?
Kenny?
Who was the first option?
Allen?
Keenan Allen.
Out of Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I misheard.
Well, I was about to
I
say,
misheard.
boy.
Mike couldn't see the white on the ball.
I couldn't see it.
Devontae Parker versus Calvin Ridley.
Calvin.
Ridley.
Yeah, I like how that came through. Calvin Ridley, Tampa Bay. Next one, Allen Robinson and Robbie Anderson.
Allen Robinson. Gotta go Allen Robinson.
Well, you know he was going Allen Robinson.
No, but I can tell you exactly
You know what? Mike, I'm scratching you off this vote here. Coach, what do you say?
Can I say one thing though? Can I just say one thing?
I'm gonna go Robbie. You lose anyway. But go ahead.
It's unbiased. Blake Bortles, Mitchell Trubisky, Nick Foles, and still 1,000 yards every season. I got to give it to him. You've never really even had a quarterback in your life, and he's still putting up these numbers. He's running great routes. He's making great catches. You know, I like the other option. I just feel like he's done a little bit less with more.
No, I agree. No, I agree with you. But I think
I definitely think there's an opportunity of him having a better season though.
We got to pick one of them. Which one?
I'm going Allen.
Allen Robinson. You going to still go with Robbie?
Yeah, I'm wrong, Robbie.
I'm going with Robbie too.
I like Robbie though.
Yeah. Brandon Ayuk from San Francisco or CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb. Absolute dog. He's a unit.
This one might be a close one. Amari Cooper or Julio Jones?
Amari Cooper. And I say that just because I don't think Julio's role is going to be the same as it was in Atlanta.
Yeah,
I go with Cooper.
Okay, Amari Cooper. And finally, Chase Claypool or Devontae Adams?
Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams.
All right, hey, we made it through the 32. We're now down to the final 16. The Sweet 16, excuse me. So we're going to start off right back at the top. Tyreek Hill now faces off against Robert Woods.
Tyreek.
Okay. A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson.
A.J. Brown.
AJ. I got to say AJ. I don't have enough tape on JJ to say anything other than AJ.
Okay. DJ Metcalf or Mike Evans?
DK. Very by a hair.
Coach,
DK.
I know it's going to be hard, man. You going to say DK?
DK.
All right, DK Metcalf. Stephon Diggs and Cooper Kupp.
Diggs.
Stephon Diggs.
Diggs. Oh, okay. We'll do that. DeAndre Hopkins, Chris Godwin.
Hopkins.
Keenan Allen, Mike Ridley. Or Calvin Ridley, excuse me.
Calvin.
We're talking about stats. Who have better stats?
We're talking about who would you think is better over the two? That could be anything you want to believe. I just need an answer.
I got to give Calvin. I think there's not a lot of weapons on that offense. He's going to look like a beast.
Keenan. Only reason because they gonna throw that thing across the field. They gonna throw it all day.
I like Ridley because Julio's not there anymore. I think Ridley's gonna step up.
I mean, I agree. There's no right or wrong. I like Ridley.
You like them both. It's good.
Yeah. It's a good conversation.
Yeah. Robbie Anderson, CeeDee Lamb.
CD.
Robbie.
Actually, you know what? No, I'll give it to Robbie. I think it's interesting to see what happens with Sam Darnold, so I'd give it to him.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't trust CD.
We got Amari Cooper and Devontae Adams.
Adams.
All right. Told you it was going to move quickly. We're down to the Elite Eight. Right back to the top. We got Tyreek Hill going up against A.J. Brown.
Tyreek.
I think I see a connection here. DJ Metcalf or Stephon Diggs?
Diggs.
Gotta give it to Diggs.
Okay. Not bad. I mean, that was pretty quick for a 5 versus 4. DeAndre Hopkins or Calvin Ridley?
D-Hop.
D-Hop. He had more options, more chances.
And Robbie Anderson, the lowest one still to make it against Devontae Adams.
Sorry, buddy. Gotta give it to Adams.
Got it. Final 4, last 2. Tyreek Hill or Stephon Diggs?
Diggs.
I'm happy. I'm just happy Coach said it first because I'm going with Diggs. I'm going with Diggs as an overall player. I love Tyreek, but take away that speed, and I still think Stephon has the route running. He has the hands.
And who's going up against Stephon? Is it going to be DeAndre Hopkins or Devontae Adams?
Adams.
And who's winning it? Adams or Diggs?
Adams
runs great routes.
There you go. So the top 32 of this year's PFF.com comes down to Stephon Diggs and Devontae Adams, the winner. Devontae Adams goes ahead. Tyreek Hill makes it to the Final 4, but gets dethroned. And there you have it. And speaking of Devontae Adams, I mean, listen, you got Aaron Rodgers thrown to you now again. That's just going to make it even that much better.
Right. And at the end of the day, there's not a lot of options at wide receiver in Green Bay. Even though Aaron makes a lot of them look better than they are, Adams is definitely going to get the majority of those passes.
Yes.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and run through our picks real quick. Let's go ahead and catch up on it real quickly here. I already read Jonathan's there. Jonathan also continued on, I am the Howard Stern of sports. I don't know if I want to go ahead and go that far, but all right. I mean, appreciate it. Next week, we're going to have strippers and hoes come in, and we'll have them pick football games, too. George says, I'd like to ask your colleague in the Bears jersey, that would be Mike, how much is Coach Nagy to produce wins with Dalton? How many wins do you think with Dalton will the Bears win?
I think, best case scenario is an 8-9 season. I have to see it first. I really do. From what I've seen in preseason, wasn't much. It really wasn't much. I understand Allen Robinson wasn't playing. I understand Jimmy Graham, Darnell Mooney weren't in there. But he wasn't even checking down. He wasn't even making reads. He wasn't doing anything effectively. So tonight is going to be a big night, even though I will give him, I guess, somewhat of a leeway because it is Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. But I'd 4-9 at max. And 9 is generous. 9 is coattailing that defense.
Wait. Between 4 and 9, that's kind of a long way. Why don't we narrow it down here?
Well, here's what I'd say, Charles. It really matters because of this defense. This defense will win you games. So that's the problem. So how many games does Andy Dalton actually win you? Probably like 1 or 2. And that's because Allen Robinson's catching the game-winning touchdown. So it really has nothing to do with Andy. And I'm not just saying that because I'm wearing a Justin Fields jersey and I want to see this man get his head ripped off. But so Aaron Donald, if somehow you're listening to the Touchdown Crew, do your thing tonight. Do what you do best.
Damn, that's just good and hurt on him.
Got it. I don't have the luxury of having a coach who makes good decisions like you do, Charles. I'm sorry. It must be nice to have Mac Jones playing week 1. It must be a great feeling. I wouldn't know what that's like.
We'll find out, really, because they're facing the Dolphin team, and the Dolphins never go easy on us.
That defense is nice, too. Defense is nice.
It is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to get to our picks. It is week 1. We're going to go down the wire. These picks do count to your overall totals. So let's go ahead and get it on. Starting with the 1 o'clock games, we got Jacksonville and Houston. I'm going to go ahead and pick Jacksonville on this one.
H-Town, stand up. I'm going to go with Lovey. Lovey going to have that defense ready.
So Houston.
Yep, H-Town.
H-Town for Coach. Mike?
Clemson forever. I got Trevor Lawrence lighting them up.
And you got the nerd lighting them up. All right.
I will say, though,
dude,
love Lovey. Always love Lovey.
We got the Chargers going up against the Washington. I don't have a freaking name yet until 2022.
Washington.
I got Washington.
I
was just thinking, I was like, Chase going in the year 2. I expect big things. I like it. I like Terry. Scary Terry is what I call him. I think he's going to be very effective with Ryan Fitzpatrick, at least for the first couple weeks until Ryan decides he doesn't care to play football anymore like he normally does.
I'm going to have to go with the Chargers on this one. I think Chargers. I think Justin Herbert's going to light it up tonight.
I love that. I love that kid, though. Love that kid so much.
We got Seattle going into Indianapolis against the Carson Wentz-led Colts. I am facing this, and I'm thinking it's at home. I'm going Indy.
I'm going Indy.
All right. No faith in the Seattle defense or Russell Wilson, apparently.
I don't have faith in that O-line.
No. Next 1 o'clock game, Sam Darnold faced off against his old team. It's the Jets against the Carolina Panthers. Coach, what do you start off with?
Oh, Carolina. I told you they're going to be the sleeper this year.
I think Carolina.
Yeah, I'm doing Carolina as well. Next, we got Minnesota heading into Cincinnati to take on Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals. That's a 1 o'clock game. Mike, what do you got?
Minnesota.
Hey, Minnesota, they're going to thunderclap. We're going to be ready.
Yeah, as much as I'd love to see Joe Burrow and a young guy actually do his thing, he had a horrible preseason, horrible camp. I'd see Minnesota just throwing it. Actually, I see Cook running it all over the place.
Yeah. Also, you look at it from a defensive standpoint. Minnesota's not bad. It's not an awful, defensive team. They have some dogs on there.
Yeah, they do pretty well. We got Arizona and Tennessee, 1 o'clock game in Tennessee. What do we got there, Coach?
Tennessee. I don't believe in. I'll let just throw it around. So I'm gonna go Tennessee.
All right.
Is Ryan Tannehill cleared?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's cleared. I didn't know. But with that, I'm gonna say Arizona.
Ooh. I'm gonna stick with my guns. I'm gonna say Tennessee as well.
Got to switch it up a little bit. We can't all be chilling on this.
No. We're not.
Hey, it's gonna change in a minute. I know for a fact some of these games.
Yeah, some of these games are pretty freaking intense. Not this one though. San Francisco going into Detroit against the Detroit Lions.
You already know how I feel.
Yeah. San Fran.
Yeah. Sorry, football team. A sorry football team out in Detroit.
49ers.
It is. Do you see the Lions being the first 0-17 team?
Nah, they'll win one.
Nah, I'll say this. Keep an eye out on St. Brown of the wide receivers in Detroit. I think he's going to have a really great year.
Okay. Next one is one of the major matchups, and I think it's probably a nationally televised game. It should be if it's not. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers going up against the Buffalo Bills, right up there in the brand new Buffalo Bills Park, brand new, about 80 years old, but they're wanting to renovate it and stuff like that. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and say Buffalo on this one. I think Buffalo is just the team to beat this year in the AFC.
Let me get Josh Allen too.
I'm gonna say Steelers. Because I'm really concerned about the receiver corps for Buffalo. Is Emmanuel Sanders gonna play? Because he's gonna be a big guy for them running routes and everything. But I'm gonna ride with Steelers. I like TJ. TJ, you got paid. Let's go get that money. Hey,
yeah, right.
Go get these sacks.
I want 3 sacks today.
Hey,
let's see the sacks now. Come on.
Hey, and Najee.
Ooh, I may have to change my pick there. Yeah, I didn't think about Najee.
Najee gonna tote that.
I
love Najee, but I love me some Josh Allen just a little bit more.
Yeah, I agree with that. Last of the 1 o'clock games, Philadelphia and Atlanta. So Jalen Hurts going in for Philadelphia, and Atlanta's got that brand new tight end, Michael Pitts. Ooh, who we got?
ATL, shawty. They're gonna ride with it. ATL. I'm not touching Philly. I ain't gonna never pick Philly. Because until I see what they can do offensively, like I said, I don't know too much about that offensive coach.
This is in Atlanta, the Mercedes-Benz Dome, so Atlanta got a little bit of home field advantage going on. I have to take Atlanta as well. I just don't see Justin Fields being that one guy, but they got 2 other quarterbacks. I guess maybe they can mix it around. Mike, though, what do you got?
What Justin Fields doing in Atlanta today?
I know, right? What is he doing? He's not doing anything in there.
Get your ass in LA right now, bro. We're gonna need you by the second half. But
Jalen Hurts. I'm sorry, Jalen
Hurts.
I had a brain fart there for a second. Jalen Hurts. I don't see Hurts doing anything.
Yeah, I got Pitts making a statement today, proving that theory wrong, that a rookie tight end can't do anything. I think he's going to be amazing. I think Calvin Ridley's going to continue to do what he does. We know what Matt Ryan can do. I don't trust either of these defenses. I got ATL.
All right. Let's kick off the 4 o'clock games. A big one. That's also nationally televised unless you're in Miami or New England. It is the Cleveland Browns going in to Arrowhead to take on the Kansas City Chiefs.
I got Brown.
I got to do KC.
Look, this is what I'm going to say. Go back to the guy that came in earlier and sent a little Facebook message. I got Cleveland. Cleveland, if you don't win, you're not going to win in the playoffs. You have to stop the explosive plays.
I thought for a second Coach was going to say, Cleveland, if you don't win, I'm going on a hunger strike or something.
No, God.
That's what I thought he was about to say.
Cleveland has to stop the explosive plays. If you can stop Tyreek over the top and make them drive the field, and you run the ball like you're supposed to, do not force feed the ball to Odell.
Right.
Play your game. But if you don't win, Cleveland, it's a wrap.
Odell's in too, right?
Odell he's questionable, but he's expected.
Do you guys remember back in the day though, like those early Derrick Rose days when you tore your ACL, you were gone for like almost a year and a half. Now guys are coming back like that. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy to me.
It's called getting shots.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Bunch of cortisone.
Let's go to the next one. A pretty big game by, on paper, but I mean, I think it's lost a little bit if it's luster. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers going into New Orleans, a.k.a. out of Jacksonville.
New Orleans.
Saints.
New Orleans, all right.
Saints.
New Orleans. And I love to say that.
Wow.
I got.
I'm picking Green Bay. I'm picking the thing.
Hey, I really think, and I know you probably gonna be mad at me about this, Mike. I think the AFC West, not the West, the AFC North is the weakest division in NFC. I think the South is to be a lot stronger this year.
It's definitely a fair statement to make. And I also think for Green Bay's case, Aaron's been gone a long time. He left with a short haircut and he came back with a man bun, and he hasn't been with Devontae Adams at all. They're working together in practice, but he didn't play at all in the preseason. I think as good of a year as they're going to have, I think it's going to be a little shaky at the beginning, just to get, the rust off.
All right. So just closing, you guys have the Saints. I got the Packers.
Famous Jameis, we're in there. We're live.
I don't know.
He better take it down.
Yeah, he better. Denver going into the Giants.
I got
What
Denver.
do you got there?
I got Denver.
Denver? That makes all three of us.
All right, Freddie.
Oh, that's right. It was the New York Packers, right? Is that the ongoing joke with Freddie?
Yeah.
Keep forgetting that. You already know my pick. Miami and New England. In New England, Mac Jones starting. I'm picking New England.
Miami.
I got to go Miami. There's no question.
Miami.
I like Mac Jones. I just feel like as good as, in New England's defense is, I truly do feel like you got Will Fuller, you got Jalen Waddle, you got Gaskins, you got Tua, you got Devontae Parker.
I just see that defense just picking them apart, though.
I do as well, but I think it's make it or break it for Tua right now. But I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
I think
you said Miami too, right, Coach?
Yes. I don't. Mac Jones. I don't think he's ready. But hey, that's
okay.
I don't think either of them are ready, to be quite honest with you. At least Mac has somewhat of an excuse.
But I think Tua. I think if you go off last year, Tua was still hurt because he came back early from the surgery.
Right.
I think he understands the game a lot more, and I think he'd be a lot better. Plus, he got a deep threat.
Right. We're also looking at that too, though. It's like, okay, well, you went from having Devontae Parker by himself to Jalen Waddle, a Bama person, and then you bring in Fuller, who is a steroid person, but he's still effective.
Yes.
That's true. He's still
Bama
effective.
versus Bama today.
Let's go ahead to Chicago Bears. Sunday Night Football going into L.A. SoFi Stadium, going to be rocking. Are the Bears going to be rocking there, Mike?
Yeah, I got the Bears.
Mike, are you thinking with your heart or are you thinking with your head?
I'm thinking with my head, but can I have a minute just to explain myself?
No.
And if I'm out of pocket, you guys do what you do best and let me know. For me, we've been dealing with Matthew Stafford for so long, and we know exactly what it takes. And it's the same concept. I like the offensive line in Los Angeles. I think it's better. But the same problem is how we always beat Matthew Stafford. There is no real established run game. So you make Matthew throw the ball, you apply pressure, and you do what you do. I feel like even though Andy Dalton isn't great, this is the best weapons he's had in a very long time, if you don't count in that Cowboys year with COVID and the concussion. Literally everything that could have went wrong for Andy Dalton last year. But I think you have a lot of weapons on this offense. Darnell Mooney, Cole Kmet, Allen Robinson, Jimmy Graham, so on and so forth. You have David Montgomery, who's really hyping himself up to be that dude. I think you can definitely disguise Andy Dalton's flaws through the weapons we have on this offense. This defense still does what it does best. It's great. Roquan Smith is one of my Defensive Player of the Year candidates. Khalil Mack, Eddie Jackson, so on and so forth. I like these boys. I think it's going to be a dogfight.
You know what, Mike? You're right. But I'm going to go with the Rams.
Got it. No, you got it.
Because here's just like what you just said. he doesn't have to call the plays. McVay's gonna run that wing. It's because it's technically, if you really pay attention to what the Rams do, it's like a wing team offense.
Yeah,
They
definitely.
they condense everybody in. They run jet sweeps. They run little screens and everything else, and they just give it up the middle. So I like that. Here's the problem with Sam Darnold or whoever you have back there. There's a guy that plays D tackle, D end, but he does that with messes every quarterback up. You put pressure right in their face.
Right.
That's what destroys a quarterback. If you look at even like the Thursday night game with Tom Brady, you
Right.
rushed on the ends. All he did was step up, slide to the left, slide to the right. So I think the Rams they're gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Because they can actually throw. He can make every throw, and he can do it without McVay telling him. With golf, he had to teach you, and he had to say, "Hey, here's your read, here's your hot." But if the hot moves or whatever, he couldn't adjust. I think that was the biggest issue. Now what we have,
you guys all make great points in regards to how it looks and what weapons they have. But the problem comes down to is Chicago just sucks at making decisions. And anything they put in sucks at making decisions.
They do.
They suck. Their offense barely gets over 200 yards a game. It's just they're horrible. And I'm sorry.
And that's solely on Matt Nagy.
As good of a defense as they have, you got LA and Stafford, who has and Sean McVay. You know Stafford is going to be tossing this baby all over the place. And I don't see the Bears. The Bears have to keep up. They have to score at least 17 to 20 points to win this game, and they can't.
And I'll say this: if Matt Nagy has a horrible play calling game, the time is ticking, man. It's over. Yeah. I don't care if it's the Rams or not. If you do not run the ball effectively, you're on the hot seat. You already are.
Last game, it's Monday Night Football. It is the Baltimore Ravens going in with their 7,000 running backs up against the Las Vegas Raiders and opening up that brand new stadium officially with a full crowd at Allegiant. I got the Vegas Raiders.
Ravens.
I'm going to say Ravens.
You're going to say Baltimore. You think the defense is going to hold on enough and they're going to do just enough for the offense?
I think Lamar is going to run over 70 yards, and I think that defense will hold. And I like Bateman. I like Watkins. I like the good, wide receiver core that they're kind of.
Is Watkins playing?
I know he's questionable.
Yeah, he's questionable, but he's probably going to play.
Yeah.
It's like that game time decision. We don't know, but we know he's playing.
You know.
We don't want you to know, but he's playing. All right. There we go. Week 1. It's in the books. The Touchdown Crew. Right there. Week number 1 of the 2021 season. I open up the forum to you two gentlemen. Any final words, final thoughts on week 1 today?
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Football's back. It's that time of the year. You just feel different. You feel different. Falls in the air. You love to see it. I wish Eddie Goldman was playing for my Chicago Bears tonight. That's going to be a real big gap that we're missing. That's a big hole, especially missing last season. Real unfortunate, but I'm rooting for him. And hopefully we see Justin Fields a lot sooner than not.
Coach, final words for this week 1.
It's going to be a great year. I'm really interested to see, especially the young quarterbacks, see how they respond, see how new quarterbacks going to new teams. I mean, it's in the NFC is more so of you don't really know who's gonna be on top. Like you have Tampa Bay, but then that's what everybody else is gonna do. AFC is the usual suspect, so I'm real interested to see how the season plays out.
When you gentlemen made your picks, did you anticipate a 3-week preseason where everything was kind of jolted around? These players, like the Bucs and Cowboys, they're going to be gassed for playing 60 minutes. Any of that went into your decision making today?
Not really.
Okay.
You're professionals at the end of the day. I think you should be able to handle this.
I would think so, but we saw a different story on Thursday. It was a little bit sloppy football playing, a little bit. I mean, not too much.
I will say this though. One was the emotions and the anxieties of being, okay, this is our ceremony of the defending Super Bowl champs. And the other one was a Mike McCarthy-led football team who just so happens to be the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So that's a cancer in itself, and that's why I think you saw that.
All right.
I mean, you're gonna get it. I think you're gonna get it because you're talking about what 80-some thousand people in one spot. So of course it's gonna be a lot hotter. So I mean, that's one of those things like right today, well now in the morning, yesterday, you just hydrate, you get your body ready for it, you stretch, because everything's gonna be 20 times faster in the regular season than it is in that preseason game. And I think that's where a lot of people, you gotta learn how to control your breathing. You gotta get there. You saw AB, so he scored his touchdown. He over there with the mask on.
Oh yeah.
So I think that's one of the things that you have to realize. It's not like the preseason where you go to the sideline because you're not going full speed. You're going full speed, but it's not as fast as this first game.
Right. All right, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Been an honor. We do it all again next week, 10 a.m. Eastern time, right here on the Touchdown Crew, the ASAP Network. Make sure you go ahead and tune in to the ASAP Network I think we're on TV now. Make sure you go ahead and tune in on the web at www.asapsportsnetwork.com. And we will see you again next week for week 2 of the NFL season. For Coach Mike, I'm Charles. Take care, everybody. See you again later.
Yeah.
You try everything.